I'm the Simple Car Guy, and in this video I will show you the right way to vacuum fill a cooling system on this BMW i8 by creating a vacuum and making the system suck the coolant in. The steps should be similar on most BMWs as well as other modern vehicles. So obviously this is a lot more complicated, and you might be asking, why can't I just fill the reservoir with coolant and let the system burp itself? Well, you can, but if you have drained enough coolant during your repair or you are doing a full system flush, you run a chance of leaving air pockets in your system, which will lead to overheating issues. For this job, you will need a coolant vacuum refill kit and an air compressor. I got this kit for about $80 on Amazon, as it includes 23 different adapters as well as a coolant pressure tester. But you can get any kit that has the correct adapter for your car. In fact, this car has two cooling systems, a low temperature cooling circuit and a high temperature cooling circuit. They're both independent from each other and both need to be vacuum filled. And even after you vacuum fill both of them, there is an additional step to bleed the system in order to get rid of all of the air. Yeah, it gets complicated on this car. Since there are two different systems, we need two different adapters for each of the reservoirs. So for this one, this orange one fits. And this is actually a good reason to get one with a lot of different attachments. And for the secondary reservoir, well, this one is the one that fits, so the other one doesn't. So I have one for each, and we'll start with that one and fill that one with coolant first. In my case, this BMW coolant that needs to be mixed with distilled water. So make sure you pay attention and see if the coolant that you're putting in the car needs to be mixed or if it's already pre-mixed. I actually recently replaced an auxiliary radiator on my BMW X7, and even though some coolant came out, I did not need to vacuum fill the coolant, and I was able to simply fill and burp the system, and it's been perfect for a few months now. In case of this BMW i8, it's pretty much 100% necessary, as it has a lot of tight pathways and high points, which are perfect places for air to get trapped. Since I just replaced components and removed multiple hoses, I want to make sure the system will hold pressure and there are no leaks. So I'm gonna use this pressure tester, and to know which pressure to put into the coolant system, you just look on the back of this cap right here, and it says 140, and that means 1.4 bar, which is about 20 psi. So 140, it's like kilopascals or whatever that is. But yeah, that's about 20 psi. So I'm gonna go to about 15 psi or 1 bar. Just kind of leave it there for a couple of minutes, make sure there are no leaks. Check all my connections. Looking under the car where I made all of the connections, I don't see any drops of coolant or anything like that. Obviously the system is not filled with coolant yet, but there is some residual stuff. It has been about 10 minutes, and as we can see, the needle hasn't moved, so that's great news. The high temperature coolant circuit should be good to go and should have no leaks. So I'm gonna release the pressure and do the same on my low temperature coolant circuit. That one unfortunately doesn't tell you what the pressure should be, so I'm just gonna go lower. I'll go like 10 psi just to be sure. All right, so it's been a few minutes. It's still at 10 psi, so I think we're good to go. All right, so here's how everything is connected. This is gonna be our air from the compressor. This is basically just an overflow tube that goes in here. This is where we're gonna be connecting the intake for the coolant. We don't need that at the moment. And this hose goes to the adapter on the coolant expansion tank, so I'm gonna plug that in. We also want to make sure that our air hose has at least 6 bar of air pressure, which is about 80 or so psi. Now we're gonna create vacuum, so I'm gonna turn on the air. And as you can see, it's climbing up. I'm gonna close it. Turn off the air. For most BMWs, you only have to do this for about 2 minutes. Keep the vacuum like this. On the BMW i8, it's recommended that we do it for 30 minutes. And of course, we expect that the needle doesn't move. If it does, then we have a leak in the system. So we're just gonna leave it like this, come back in 30 minutes. Now it's time to actually fill the car with coolant. So I'm gonna have my jug right here. I wanna make sure it goes all the way to the bottom. Plug that in. And we're gonna open this valve right here. And as you can see, it's sucking in the coolant. We can see the coolant going down, so we want to make sure it doesn't suck in any air. If we see any air come in here, shut it off quickly and readjust the hose. As you can see, it's going back to 0 slowly, which is what we want. We can see it's still going down, so it's still sucking in the fluid, and looks like we are done. All right, let's see what we have here. And there you have it. So we are pretty filled. So now we can actually do the sequence in the car to bleed the coolant further. I'm gonna put the cap back on. The bleeding routine for the low temperature coolant circuit is actually pretty simple. First, we have to switch on the ignition, so just press the start button, and then switch our headlights from automatic to low beam. This will prevent the car from sleeping. And then we're gonna turn on our heater and then raise the temperature all the way to 84, so whatever the max is, and lower the fan speed to 1, so just like that. Then we're gonna engage the parking brake. Well, the parking brake is actually already on, so that's no problem. And now we just simply press and hold the accelerator pedal for about 20 seconds. We're not turning the car on, we're just holding the pedal for about 20 seconds. And you can let go as soon as you start hearing fans running in the back. And now we're just gonna let it run for about 15 minutes. Something's running here as well. So I'm just gonna keep an eye on the levels and make sure they don't go below the max. All right, and about 11 minutes later, the process has finished. With the low temperature circuit completed, I followed the same process on the high temperature side. You can see some residual coolant being sucked into the overflow bottle here, hopefully removing any air from the coolant lines and the rest of the system at the same time. I left the system under vacuum for about 20 minutes and then started vacuuming the coolant in. Even though the reservoir seemed full, the system sucked in about 5 quarts or liters of coolant. The bleeding routine for the high temperature cooling system is a little bit more complicated. So I will be using this N-Cell professional scanner to lead me through the steps. So I'm just going to select the special function that's under drive, and it's going to connect to the vehicle, and it's telling us all the stuff that needs to be done in order for this to be completed successfully. So this will run for about 20 minutes. All of that looks good, so I'm going to hit carry out cooling system bleeding. F3. All right, it says, no, we don't want to program anything. Yes, it's been vacuum filled. Yes, I have opened and closed the bleeder screw. And now we can continue with this function. All right, continue. The first few steps are basically exactly the same as for the low temperature coolant circuit bleed in procedure. So we are going to switch on ignition, make sure the low beams are on so the car doesn't go to sleep. The temperature is at 84 degrees and the fan speed is at 1 and the AC button is not lit up. Of course, the car is in park and the parking brake is on. So now we can press the accelerator pedal for 20 seconds. Just as before, the fans have turned on. So now we can hit continue to go to the next step. And now we start the engine. So press the brake, start. The engine starts up. And now we follow the steps that are given to us here. So I'm just going to rev it up to 3,500 RPM. Let go. So keep the speed for 2 seconds, then let go for 5 seconds, and then do it again. So you have to complete all of the steps within that 1 minute, and you will be doing that for the next 20 minutes. The first 16 minutes, you are just doing 3,500 RPM. Burst with the engine, and then after that it goes up to, I believe, 5,500 RPM, where you hold it for 5 seconds and then let go for 10 seconds. And actually that's kind of interesting because this scanner is telling me to hold it for 2 seconds and then let go for 5 seconds. However, looking at the technical documents from BMW, it actually says to go for 5 to 10 seconds at 3,500 RPM with 10-second intervals between the engine speed increases. So that's kind of interesting. I'm not sure which one is correct. Obviously, this is like 20 minutes long, so I'll see you after this is done. Here's what the coolant level looks like after the bleed-in routine. The level looks good, and it is warm to the touch and definitely under pressure, so do not open it. The coolant temperature did get to about 110 Celsius, but not the limiting 117 Celsius. So now it's time to go on the test drive in sport mode. Well, I took the car on the test drive earlier, and even though the bleed-in routine was completed successfully, 15 minutes into the test drive, the car overheated again. but with an important difference. I wasn't very happy and didn't even film anything at the time, but I'm pretty sure I know how to fix it now. Subscribe to the channel to follow my repair journey and join me in the next video where I will be finally fixing this overheating BMW i8. Like the video if you found it interesting or useful, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!